Back to that KEVIN Show with Kevin McCullough.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my next guest is no stranger to the world of Kevin McCullough, radio, etc., etc. But it's been a while since she's been with us because she's been busy. She was a press secretary for the president. She's got a thriving career at Fox News Channel. She's a busy, busy mom, and she's just written her second book, which is already a bestseller. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Kayleigh McEnany. Hello, Lady Kayleigh. How are you?
Hey, great to join you. Yeah, very, very busy these days, but mostly with the mom part you mentioned. So
Well,
I have a
I like that
3-year-old
part.
next to me. Let's hope that she doesn't decide to join the interview. Yes, that is a good part.
Well, at this microphone,
But it's great to join you.
children's input is always welcomed. I talk to a lot of moms, Bethany Mandel, Carol Markowitz. There's tons of women that are on my show that have children, and they've grown up while they've been doing the show and so forth. And when we met, you were an intern at Fox News working for Governor Huckabee, and now you got 2 kids. Like, sometimes it just blows my brain, Kayleigh, how far we've come. I want to ask you about
Time flies. Yep.
I want to ask you about a series of things. These days, I don't know Karine Jean-Pierre personally in any capacity. I don't like a lot of her politics. I don't generally tend to try to form opinions about people that I don't know very well, but there's certainly a sense of empathy that I have had for her in recent days, and John Kirby and a few other press secretaries in the administration, because it seems like they are being constantly asked to peddle a bill of goods that they may not know, but that are obviously patently false. And I'm just curious if you could compare your days behind that podium to what you see happening in that press room on a regular basis.
Yeah, initially I wondered how much access the press secretary had to the president, because Jen Psaki was asked if she had Oval Office walk-in privileges, and she declined to say, which led me to believe, who are you speaking for if you don't have regular access to the president of the United States? Just based on what I saw, it seems like that was remedied, and perhaps she was, led into more meetings throughout her tenure. And Karine Jean-Pierre, it seems to be the case. I saw her sitting at the NATO table with the president. So perhaps they've woken up to the fact that you need your spokesperson to kind of be in the know as to what the president of the United States is thinking. But it's a fun job, a challenging job. I think one of the reasons I was able to do the job was because of my interest in the subject matter. I loved policy myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was interested in it. So I would regularly pick up the phone, talk to department heads, ask for data, ask where they got their sourcing and their facts. And because it was a passion, I think it came through at the podium. So I think to thrive at the job, you've got to be an investigator yourself and want to and have interest in these matters.
Well, and certainly I think, Kayleigh, your time behind the podium was like that. And by the way, for the record, I think, and I've known several of you in that position. I knew you, I knew Sarah Sanders, maybe longer than any of the others. I knew Sean, I knew Dana, I knew Tony Snow, I knew Ari Fleischer. I mean, I've known a lot of people in that position. And one of the things I've always appreciated about at least those of you that I had contact with is that there was a real effort, at least for those of you that worked in those administrations, to tell the truth. My frustration, and you kind of skated on the question a little bit, but I'll give you a second swipe at it here. It seems like this group is either being prevented from telling the truth, or maybe they're participating in some level. I mean, just the Coke in the White House story has changed 3 times on where the location was. And she puts up questions like, or she puts up protestations like, I'm not going to comment, it's the Secret Service's investigation. And then, oh, by the way, let me fill in the blank on a bunch of information that doesn't really help you gather an opinion about it. I'm just going to add some stuff to it that you didn't ask for. In other words, it sometimes feels like there's smoke and mirrors going on.
Well, there for sure is. I mean, with the cocaine story, for instance, to your point, the story changed many times. If this would have happened under my tenure, I would have gone to the Secret Service office myself and said, tell me the story. This can't keep changing. What is the truth of the matter? The absolutely incomprehensible answers to, is this a Biden family member that we should be thinking about? First, you have a deputy that cites the Hatch Act, which has nothing to do with that. The Hatch Act has to do with not affecting elections. Then Karine Jean-Pierre gets another stab at the question, and she mocks the questioner and says that's an irresponsible question. If I was in the White House, I would have gone to Trump and said, there what do you say? And he would say, absolutely not. And I would have gone to the podium and said, I spoke with the president. He said, under no circumstance was this a member of the Trump family. So why she didn't do that? I mean, I'll leave that to your listeners to answer, but it's been confounding, the head in the sand approach we've seen on this subject matter in particular.
Well, and I'm going to speculate here. This is me, not Kaylee, saying it, but I don't think it's that confounding. I think it's just a cover up. I think that it's pretty easy to see that there's one person in the president's inner circle who's a former addict, has written about it in a book. We have a laptop full of pictures that seem to demonstrate it. And it wasn't just the coke, Kaylee. Did you hear about the 2 bags of weed they found just before the end of the year? I mean, this is evidently there's a lot going on in that White House.
Yeah, there evidently there is. And, if I would say this, if I'm Joe Biden and my press secretary and the deputy have answered in this manner, I would have been upset if this was not my family member. I would have said, look, this is inexcusable communications coming from the White House press shop. Yeah. But what did he do? He has been asked about it and he is silent on the matter. So it all adds to suspicions among the American public as to why the president won't even answer the question, much less his press secretary.
Well, and I think, that the press secretaries, I mean, you guys all have a life beyond the White House, right? You're always, you're going to serve your time for the administration that you're with, and then you're looking down the road. And for you, there was always an interest in being in cable TV and being a cultural observer and commentator. And that's what you get to do now. But I think even John Kirby and Karine Jean-Pierre at some point have to say, well, is this worth falling on my sword for? Am I going to ruin my career just to save this, batty old man in the White House a little bit more embarrassment? I just don't know how long that lasts. I feel kind of empathetic for him, even though I disagree with him on every level. Let me ask you, the new gig at Fox, middays, you and Harris are tearing it up. 2 of my favorite people on planet Earth. How much fun are you having?
Oh, it is great. And Emily Compagno too. The 3 of us, we truly love each other, being around each other. It's a blast, especially as we're heading into the 2024 election season. It's exciting. It's horse race politics, and we're off to the races, not to mention the other fun topics that we do that give our show a lighter feel. We have fun. If you can't tell, we do have fun.
Yes. Well, as I said, some of my favorite people sitting on that couch every single day. And Harris really is one of those, gems of our industry that has just done her thing for as long as she has, and at the highest and most excellent level. And to have you and Emily joining her in that capacity is really cool. Anything going into Iowa, I mean, the first debate rather, this next month, that you find particularly intriguing at this point?
Yeah, I think going into Iowa, what I find intriguing is polling and how it has become such an just erratic barometer. You think about how we went into the midterm elections and it showed a torrential red wave. If you looked at any poll, I'm talking state specific poll, national poll, they were all off. It's really important we take a look at it, not even so much for the primary, because we have a lot of great candidates, but for the general election. Because if the polling is off and we sit on our laurels, that's not an answer, as we saw in midterm 2022.
Yeah. All right. Kayleigh McEnany, former press secretary for President Trump and current Fox News commentator and host of Outnumbered. She rejoins us after this quick break. Stay here.
Ready or not, we'll be right back. That Kevin